Hey everyone, welcome to the Waze Champs show. I'm Vince1612, Vince for short, and I have with me.
And I'm Bruce, or Skidoo Guy, as I'm known on Waze. And we've taken over the airwaves tonight to answer all your questions and show you what's really going on behind the scenes here at Waze.
Hey, guys, what's going on here? Eris, did you upload them to the broadcast?
No way, Brett. They probably use some tricks to go in the air.
All right, guys, what do you think you're doing here? Did you like write a script or something to take control of the show?
No, we didn't.
But you guys, I invited you on as guests. It's still Waze Community's office hours. All right, Eris, let's get the right banner up here. Come on, let's do this right. All right, there we go. All right, I'll see you two when we get to your segment. Now, let's start the show. Let's put these guys back down in the lobby. All right. Well, everyone, welcome to another exciting edition of Waze Community Office Hours. Today, we are shifting our focus from what Waze has been up to turn the camera back around to you, the editors. We are so excited to be joined today by two of our Waze champs, Vincent from Switzerland and Bruce from the US. They're going to share their favorite tips and tricks for maximizing your experience on the forum.
Up until now, we had a partner portal. It was a platform for all of our partners to communicate with one another, with us, and with you guys, with editors all across the world. The editors community collaborated with partners in tons of countries, adding closures, helping them face crisis events, make the most out of Waze tools and data. And for that, we used the old portal, which was built by Google. And that means that the branding was different, integration with Waze tools was not great, and we decided we needed something new. And that something is the new Partners Hub, and it's going to be a platform for all of our partners, not just Waze for Cities, but carpool partners, every partnership that we have and will have in the future. So to summarize the main advantages, we're going to have a new design, which is going to be easier to use and Waze branded. Waze tech infrastructure, which will make it easier to fix bugs, not that we have bugs, but if we will, and maintain it. And as a bonus, we fixed some of the tools, including the reporting tool that some of you may know and not love so much. It's a bit buggy. In the next few weeks, we're going to release a new revised version, hopefully bug-free. Next slide. This is what the old Partners portal looked like. I think you can see it's a bit outdated. Navigation is not the friendliest. And so we changed it to, next slide, the new Partners Hub. You can see it's Wazier. I think it looks great. Navigation is much easier. And it's basically live now. Next slide. And starting tomorrow, we'll be migrating the first batch of partners, 50 partners. If everything goes well, by the end of the month, we're going to migrate the next batch, start to migrate the next batch. That's going to be 700 partners. And after that, we're going to create a test account for the editors community. Right now in the old portal, we have one, and we want you guys to have one in the new hub as well, so you can get to know it and help partners out as much as possible for the benefit of the end user. And that's it. Mike's going back to you, Brett.
Thank you so much, Noam. So before we bring you the champs and their tips and tricks, I thought it'd be nice for us to take a couple of minutes to look over what you all had to say in this year's Editors Community Survey. So first, let's start with the results overview. We had a really great turnout this year with over 1,000 responses. It was a little short of last year's 1,400 responses, but we still had a very respectable sample size. And I'd really like to send out congrats to our top 10 countries for participating. And this year, Ukraine, Australia, and Spain were all new to the board. So extra kudos could go out to those communities for sharing so many of their opinions with us this year. So now let's talk about who responded. As you can see, we had a pretty even distribution of the editor levels this year. And again, this gave us a really solid sample size. We also had a very healthy mix of community leadership versus volunteer editors in the responses. Our editing frequency was something that actually really surprised us this year. The majority of you, around 2/3, are editing at least weekly. We had expected a really large dip due to COVID, but as it turns out, many editors actually increased their activity over the past year, or at the very least, it stayed the same. And only around 23% of respondents reported a decrease in their activity, which really we view as a huge success. Next up on the WME experience, we also had a lot of positive feedback from the community. As you can see, around 75% of respondents reported satisfaction with the WME, even with an almost 4% drop in the level 5 responses from last year. But as you guys know, we are always working to improve the experience for that quarter of you who think it could improve. So next, let's take a look at promotions and editing resources. Here is where we've identified some issues, as you can see. We need to work more to make the promotions process become much more transparent. This doesn't just mean in the automated promotions, but also in the selection process for community roles like area managers. This is as much a community issue as it is for staff. To address this, we've cataloged all of the Waze community roles on the Wazer to Wazer website, so editors know exactly what opportunities are available to them, and they have everything they need to know what to do to attain them. The good news, however, is that the community has reported that the amount of editing resources has really improved. Over 42% of the respondents said that they have seen a significant improvement, and almost 75% are satisfied when you factor in the level 3 responses. So as you can see below that, since last year's survey, the numbers have been completely flipped. And we really like seeing those 1s and 2s in the red by such significant percentages. So before we move on to more results, let's review some of our main takeaways from 2020. So here's what you all said were the most important issues to you last year. Number 1, do regular office hours. Check, got that one. Number 2, transparency and promotions. 3, more direct communication from community managers downstream. 4, sharing data with the community. 5, strengthening recruitment efforts. And finally, improving the WME experience. So now to go over our takeaways from 2021, it's my great pleasure to introduce Donna, who will review our main takeaways from this year's survey. Take it away, Donna.
Thank you, Brett, and hi, everyone. So I'm Donna, one of the team managers on the communities team. I think we probably know each other by now, but if not, here I am. And I'm going to walk you through our top 10 main takeaways from this year's survey. And I really want to stress out how very seriously we take these survey results. It's important for me to mention that we invest a lot of time and effort into analyzing the survey results, as well as extracting takeaways and actionable insights. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the top 10 takeaways from this year's survey. So the first one has to do with local leadership structure. We received a lot of feedback this year requesting a cleanup of roles and more transparency in the selection process. And we're currently actually in the middle of instituting a spring cleaning initiative, which basically addresses a lot of these issues. So coordinators and GCs probably have received a sheet with a lot of data on it, asking them to clean it up. So we're hoping to have an update on this in the coming weeks. The second key takeaway has to do with easier promotions and more editing resources. And I think it's a really important one, and it's something that we have seen improve, as noted in the year-over-year comparison that Brett just showed you. But this is always an ongoing project for us. It's always something that we want to invest in. And I think it's important to differentiate between the lower level editors and the higher level editors. For higher level editors, we're constantly coming up with new ideas, new roles to help editors get promoted. And I think a couple of good examples would be the Deep Thought program, which allows community members to become product experts and support our users online. And the other program would be the Boosters, which allows strong editors to also help in countries where either the map or the community is not as developed. And so for new editors, we hear a lot of complaints from you guys that you're simply not able to up rank, you're not able to get enough points because there's not enough to do in your area. And this is something we also take very seriously, and we would like to take some measures to avoid this. We want to find new ideas to handle this, but we'd love to hear from you about what you think would be the best way to do it. If you have any ideas that could be interesting here, we'd love to hear how this can improve. The third takeaway is around more help and communication with or from staff. So we hear you loud and clear on this one, and we will be increasing, we're already working on it, on the amount of communication that you get from us. We're hoping to improve our accessibility through different features like the Waze Forum. We're working on, I'll tell you a little bit more about it. You can see it's point 10 here. But the Wme Chat, or the chat in general, which we're hoping to also have on the forum. So this is something we take very seriously. Number 4 focuses on beginner guides, resources, expanded mentoring. And we have been refreshing our masterclasses. And with upcoming improvements, we're also planning to have in Wazeopedia, we will have new beginners resources section there. And we're also looking into having a more advanced masterclass, so stay tuned for that. As for improving online events, having more regional or focused events, we've already begun creating new virtual events. Looks like it's kind of similar to what came up last year. But we're always happy to work with the local communities and create new unique events. We want to hear from you. If you have interesting ideas for a topic that you want us to cover during office hours, or if you have a unique event in mind for your community, we're eager to make it happen. So I would like to encourage you as much as I can to have more local events, have meetups, have Waze cafes, map raids, whatever you'd like. We support you 100% on that. So just reach out to us and let us know. Sharing data with the community, this is an interesting one, and I think we hear you very loud and clear on this one as well. For some months now, we have been developing a countries portal, and we're also going to be taking in beta testers in the coming months. So keep your eyes open for any forum announcements for when this officially launches. For map updates, number 7, this is another ongoing project. We're very aware of your need for satellite imagery updates, and we get requests from you all the time to make sure that the map is improved, that it's updated, and we want to keep it fresh. So I'd like to encourage you to continue reaching out to your community managers or specialists and let us know if you see an issue with the map. We'll be able to alert Google Maps internally and get it fixed. As for country map and borders, I know this is something that we've been working on for a long time. Unfortunately, we have encountered some technical challenges there, and that's why it's getting delayed. But we hope to progress there, and when we do, we will let you know all about it. Number 8 is an interesting one, returning to live events. I think you can trust me when I say that we want this more than you know. We really miss seeing you. I can't promise anything because even when it looks like it's going up, suddenly it's going down, and COVID is really unexpected. But believe me when I tell you that when this becomes available again, you'll probably be the first to know. Okay, better UR communication. So a lot of people express the need for both better communication of user reports, but also a mechanism to better dispatch editors to where they're needed. So I can share with you today that UR improvements are currently being explored. This is in combination with the Wme Chat I'll talk about in a little while. But hopefully together with that, we will be able to provide an improvement around UR communication. Also, the product team is actively looking into improvements for map data search and adding more info to URs. But I just want to reiterate that These are just in the exploratory stage. We don't have a timeline yet, so this is really all I can share around that. And then last but not least, the Wme Chat. I'll tell you a little bit more about that. It's essentially, the Waze Chat is essentially this messaging solution that's designed to consolidate all the different inboxes that you have into one single inbox that includes all of your interactions. So we've already started implementing this for Carpool. We started it there because people really need to send messages in real time, but we're also looking into implementing this in the whole Waze ecosystem, which means that this will soon appear, sorry, not soon, but it will appear in a lot of places that are relevant to the editors community. We're looking into implementing this in the forum and the WME. So I can't say a lot more about this, but it is coming down the pipeline, which is great news for us. So thank you very much for listening. It's just one slide, but I know I talked a lot. So I'm pleased to pass the mic back to Brett and continue on with the show. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, Donna. Let me move our slides here. It's like I've got so many gymnastics going with the slides and the StreamYard and everything else. So to end, I'd like to thank you all, our viewers and editors, for participating in our survey this year. The insights that you and your communities are providing for us are invaluable to help Waze keep up to the community standards. We really value all of your feedback, and we will use your insights to guide us through our next steps as we plan next year's goals. And remember, you can always let us know your thoughts all year round. Don't wait for the survey. If you have a good idea, add it to the suggestion box, read out to your region's local leadership, or reach out to us, staff, your community manager. We'd be very happy to hear all of your great ideas. So with that, I would love now to get to our main event and bring up Bruce and Vince, who are going to share with us some Waze Champs tips and tricks. You guys, take it away.
Again, so I'll let you start.
Well, I was waiting for next, but apparently next, please. So, hey, everybody.
Sorry, I forgot one very important thing. Everyone, feel free to ask your questions. Here's the link. It's also in the description of this video. So as we're going, we want to see those questions rolling in so that Aries and I can get them sorted for when these guys are done with their presentation. All right. Thanks, guys.
So yeah, I guess I'll go first, even though I'm second on the slide here, but I'm Bruce, or Skidoo Guy. So I'm live in the United States, but I am part of both the United States and the Canadian communities in Waze. And I'm a local champ in both places, and I've been doing this since 2013.
So yeah, hi, in my case, Vincent, from Switzerland, global champ since 2015. I started editing in 2013, and just happy to be presenting today. So I guess we'll just move on to the presentation.
Which is why we did this backwards already, Vince, but because everybody always loves to see my dogs, and that is both of them right there. So when I'm not wazing, they're pretty much comprising most of my time. That's Bo on the right. He is 3, almost 4, and Shelby on the left. She'll be 7 here in September, and they are pretty much the highlight of our lives and anybody who really encounters them. But we figured we'd share them all with you because everybody loves them. So we were it was difficult trying to figure out what we wanted to share for tips and tricks here. And we figured we'd start with what is the community, because the community really is the heart of Waze and what empowers them to be better than other navigation apps. So the community structure is pretty simple. At the end of the day, you have staff up top, then you have your champs, and then everybody else below them that, not below them, but it works with them, I should say, to get the map up to date and work on all the features and app beta testing and such. With that, collaboration is really key. That can be difficult in the current climate because we have so many different communication channels, whether that be the forum, Wme Chat, and then the various platforms outside of the sanctioned ones that are used, such as Discord, Slack, Telegram, or Google Hangouts. And this can make collaborating very difficult. I know in the US, for example, we use Discord mostly, and we have one, was it the North America or the USA Discord, but then each of our regions, because our country is large, we're broken into regions, has their own Discord servers. So that gives us 6, 7 Discord servers besides the US one. And this can make collaboration, just communication in general, pretty difficult because there's just so much going on in so many different places. And it can really lead to a lot of localization, or it's not quite what I was going for, but you know, if you're a rank 2 through 4 editor, 5 editor, who's not a country manager or such, it can be difficult to interact with other champs or other country managers, especially from other countries, because you know you're sitting in your local communication channel, and it can be difficult to expand out beyond that communication channel to get to know other people. And that really hinders the amount of learning we can have, but that can be mitigated by participation in things such as raids, the newly created Community Boosters program. And honestly, you just end up having a lot of fun when you get to interact with other people. Like I have worked with Vince before, but even working with these slides, you know, we got to have some fun and interact with each other in ways we never had before. It's been pretty entertaining. There we go. So besides the whole concept of the community, we decided that the best thing to really show are some of the scripts that we use and the way we use them to help make working within this entire Waze ecosystem a little more efficient and easy, because again, you're jumping around between forum, editor profiles, the map editor, and many other different applications that are used for different purposes. And it can be very time consuming trying to run around and find out where something happened or who said something or interacting with another user. So with that, we have several scripts that have gone a long way to helping simplify these processes, or at least make them take a lot less time. And scripts inherently, as a quick overview, are user-created programs that are installed via TamperMonkey or browsers extensions, and they're there to help with the functionality and efficiency. And we were strong-armed into saying that scripts are not supported by Waze officially, but they do what they can to work with this and keeping them mostly functioning. Next. So one of the scripts that I personally enjoy the most is Wme Forum Links. It's created by Crazy Caveman, and it adds a very, very useful function, which is this profile link. So anywhere in the forum when you're using it, you can click on it, and that will take you to the user's editor profile. And this can be useful when a user comes and mentions an issue somewhere or requests an unlock, but they don't know what a permalink is or don't leave any information on where they are from. This allows you to very quickly go to their editor profile, and they will hopefully have at least one edit there that allows you to see where they're from, and you can direct them to a more local source to help. It does also add a beta link to any permalinks that it detects in the message content. This isn't as widely useful, but it can be nice at certain times if a feature is only available in beta or something like that. Next. So the second one is the editor profile enhancement script. This is created by Justin S83, who's currently pretty much the king of all Waze scripts. And this one, oh, Brett, you put my bullet points backwards. Well, we'll start with provides the detail of a breakdown edit history. So this is more for the actual individual user, just for a little bit of fun information, than it is helpful for an overview. And it shows the breakdowns you can see per days. Oh, that's mine too. Don't look at mine. I don't edit much anymore, but it shows the breakdown per days about how many edits you're doing. And this can be kind of neat to look at for an individual to see where you're doing editing the most and keeping track of your behavior if you're like me and try to limit your computer time at times. The really useful features for a collaborative sake are the ability to switch the servers. So on the top left there in the screenshot, you can see where it says last edit ROW, and this actually allows you to switch the server environment for which the edit history is pulled from. Inherently, when you look at edit history, it should pull from everything, but we found that it doesn't always. And so switching this can sometimes bring up more detail on edits if an individual has been editing in one server as opposed to another, and you're trying to investigate some of the activity on that particular server. The other useful feature with this one is the links it adds. So on the right-hand side there, the message button is already there in the editor profiles, but this adds a link to get to the user's forum profile, so kind of the opposite of the profile link in the forum. And it also allows you to download the managed areas shown on the profile in a Wicket format. And this is it's just a data type that helps show a polygon, and it can be useful for management purposes. Next. Okay, and then this is personally my favorite script ever, so I always highlight it whenever I can. Highlight it. It's called Wme Color Highlights from Tim Bones, and it is just what it says it is, a highlighting script. For the most part, it just does very simple highlights based on, you know, segment attributes. But the two features that I personally love to use are the recently edited or edited by. So if there's suddenly a problem in an area that you don't really know why all of a sudden URs are popping up or a route's not working right, you can go in and sort by or highlight by recently edited days, and this can help see what's been recently edited to find out if something got bumped by accident or changed that shouldn't have, or just inadvertently that's causing the issue. And you can also filter by editor, which can be useful when you're reviewing or mentoring. It allows you to quickly identify segments that have been recently edited, or I'm sorry, not recently, but ever edited by an editor, as long as they are the last one to edit it. I believe the advanced features are only available to rank 3 or area manager and above. So as long as you have one of those, then you should see those no problem. And I believe we are on to Vince next.
All right, thank you, Bruce. So for my part, I have mostly focused on the forum because at first we were told that was what we were going to talk about, and then we were asked to share other stuff. So I also have a couple more things afterwards. Regarding the forum, yeah, I've seen John's comment earlier that I'm one of the forum's gurus, so that's, yeah, it's my thing. I read the forum a lot, every day, a couple times at least, minimum. And I like to sort of follow certain topics, and that can be hard when you just log on the forum and you don't really know where there's a new message that you want to read that you might be interested about or not. So the tips are just like how to better be able to follow what interests you and not just have every new post just displayed and not being sure where to start. So obviously subscribing is one of the main things that you can do. And under the new forum UI, you can see that at the bottom left, there are 3 dots where you can subscribe to a forum. If you subscribe to a forum, basically what will happen is that you will know when there's a new topic started in that forum. And you can do the same thing with the same UI at the bottom left with topics. So if you open a certain topic that you're interested in following and you go to the 3 dots at the bottom left, you can subscribe to that topic. Next, please. So from there, my second tip is to set your default forum URL or bookmark or favorite, whatever you want to call it, as the subscription section inside the user control panel. Basically, when I go to the forum, I don't go to waze.com/forum. I just go to that section. It's saved as a favorite for me. And what happens is that basically when you open this, you will see every forum you follow. If it has new topics, new messages, and the same goes for every topic you follow. So basically what you do when you open the forum first, you see only what you're interested in, what you're subscribed to, and that makes it a lot easier to just have a quick read and follow about what you want to know about, basically. And from there, once you're done reading that, then you can move on to new topics, new discussions, etc. So my second tip is just basically, besides using the subscription function, to start your forum browsing if you're interested in reading your favorite topics by setting up the favorite or bookmark to this page. And next. The other last tip I might have with forum reading would be that if you did not subscribe to a topic, but you know you posted in it and you want to find it, you also can find your own posts by going to your profile at the top right and just clicking My Posts. This will show all the posts that you wrote in the forum recently, and you will easily be able to search with the search box if you want to find a specific post, or if you know if it was recent, you will find it in the recent list anyway, because it's chronologically sorted, so it should be easy to find. So that's about it for my forum reading tips, and we can move on to WME, where I encourage people to, if you start and you're not really familiar with WME, just make sure to check the advanced preferences that you can find clicking the little settings icon that you have at the top there. The most useful ones, I think, are draw new rows as two-way or with all turns allowed, because we have so many new people who just come in, they create new roads, they either leave them one way, or if they don't, then they leave all the turns red. So just having this enabled at first, if it's not that you don't know that you have to enable the turns, but you just forget to do it, that can also help you make roads quicker and easier without having to remember to click everything. And of course, there's also the languages options if that's an interest to you, if you want to use WME in another language. So this is it for WME. Also, one last thing, sorry, go back. I forgot to mention. Bookmark Favorite, that was also the same thing basically as the forum. Instead of using the waze.com/editor link to go to the editor, what I also like to do is just go to my city, I create a permalink, and I set that as a favorite. So basically, when you open the editor, you find yourself with a view of your city, and you start with an area that you know, and this prevents you from starting, for example, in London or other locations, just by saving a favorite that is actually permalinked to an area that you know and work on recently or just regularly. So think about creating a permalink and saving it. That can save you also a lot of time to finding your own area back. And we can move on. All right, last one. We've talked about scripts that are community created, but there are also other tools that are not necessarily made for Waze out there. And there's one I started using a lot, which is not for Waze, but I use it for this. It's a monitoring tool, and I thought I would share this as a tip for anybody who might be an area manager, country manager, or whatever, who needs to monitor an area. And for this, I will just showcase the Distil Web Monitor extension, which works in Chrome and Firefox, also Opera, I think. And I will be sharing my screen to basically show you what it's about. There we go. So this is from the Chrome Web Store. You can just install it like this. It also works for Firefox. And this is basically a web monitor. So you can monitor anything you want on an internet page with it. To showcase this, for example, I will show you a page which has mobility information about the city of Geneva where I live. And this is basically all the construction they're going to do. And they periodically add this add information to this page. And once you've installed the extension, it will show at the top right with a little drop there. And it will give you an option to select part of the page you want to watch. So you can just go to the square here for the construction. You're not interested in the rest of the UI. If they make changes, you don't want to know about it. But just like everything that's in here, if they announce something that will start construction somewhere, you want to know about it. So what you do is you save the selection at the bottom right. It will open this dialog where you say, okay, how often should I check for changes? You can set it for once a day, for example, and then you can add actions, for example, a sound that will play for when there's something on your monitor. And you just, you can also rename it to whatever you want here, and you just save. And this you can use, for example, as I just showed, to monitor a city web page that announces construction. It will basically have what you wanted to watch, and if there are changes, it will let you know. But you can also use it for other things like a WME segment. I've, as an example, set this up here. So I've created the permalink including a segment ID, which will open in a few seconds. There we go. So it's very important that the segment ID finds itself up there, because that's what will ensure that the segment is selected when the page opens. And basically what I did there is just the same thing, using select part of the page and set it on updated by. This way I'm watching only when this segment updates and when and by whom. And when you go to your watch list afterwards, you can see, for example, that today at 4:14, the segment was last updated by me on August 1st. And then I just made a change to trigger the difference. And you can see if I go to the differences, it shows you what was deleted and the new text in green. So you can see here that 5 minutes later, because that's the frequency I set the check to at first, I was warned that look out, this segment has had an update, and then you can see by whom it is and at what time. So you can watch a segment, you can watch a page for changes for construction, and also you can also watch editors. For example, this guy has not edited in a long time. I might want to know if and when he comes back. Same thing, you go to edits, save selection. Let's check once a day, save it, and it will basically run in the background a check. And if this guy ever edits again and makes a new edit, whenever the total number of edits is increased from this number, I will know. And so this is basically what I wanted to showcase, this Distil Web Monitor tool, which is completely free. It has paid options, but I've never needed them. This runs on your computer, basically. And when you get home, you turn on the computer, you open your browser, it does all the checks that you've set up. And if there's anything you need to watch about, it will just show you. So this is a very good monitoring tool for just anything on the web. So yeah, you could even spy on your girlfriend's number of followers if you wanted to. But I mean, I'm not suggesting anything here. So, all right, I'm done. So I hope you liked that tip.
All right, excellent. Thank you guys so much for that. It was super, super cool. Let me remove this guy from the screen, and now we're going to go into our Q&A. Welcoming back Donna as well, who's going to answer questions for staff, since most of those are above my pay grade, but don't tell anybody. So Erez, let's throw our first question up on the board. From Lori, new features are great, but WME itself is becoming more clunky. For example, it used to be that when you created a house number, the cursor would populate the number field and you could type right away. A recent update has changed that, so now you must click in the number field to the number. Donna, do you want to tackle that one?
Yeah, thanks, Brett. So first of all, this is really an annoying one, but I want to tell you, first of all, that we're familiar with the issue and it's already being worked on to fix. And I want to just remind you very quickly of all the different places that you can use to provide feedback. You can use the suggestion box, Wme Beta Bugs forum, and the release feedback. And this is a great way for us to see what what you're interested in getting fixed or prioritized, and we can prioritize it on our end. I think that this specific one was sent through the WME Beta Bugs forum, and it's already being worked on. So I'm hoping we'll have an update for you. I also, while we're here, I don't know if we're gonna share some of the questions on the chat, but I also saw a question from Dave, a comment rather, and it says, staff, make the WME settings default correct, please. And so I just want to say the same answer applies here as well. Please submit all of your suggestions, all of your feedback through all the right channels, and we can address them and hopefully take care of them.
Thanks, Donna. Let's put our next question up. Next, oh, area manager promotion application process needs a refreshment and clarification. The self-managed application form is somewhat outdated, and the correct polygon definition is difficult, from Kari. So Donna, why don't you take this again for us?
I'll take it. All right, Kari, honestly, I could not agree with you more. I 100% think that the process for all of our more operational tasks, area managers, city merge, CARs, these are very outdated. We are still using sheets and forms. So I completely agree here. I do want to say that we're working on progressing and transitioning into Salesforce. And we're very hopeful that this will happen by the end of the year. Can't guarantee for sure. The first thing that we're transitioning is the SOS escalations process, which is like we're very close to launching this, and I hope to have an update for you on this topic. But I totally agree with you, and our next goal here is really to transition all of the more operational tasks to Salesforce and really improve the process by a lot. We don't want to stay behind. We want to continue and grow and improve our processes. And yeah, really, I totally agree with this. And hopefully Salesforce, by the way, it's a company-wide initiative here at Waze. And so we're definitely jumping on that opportunity.
All right, thanks, Donna. Let's move on. Finally, a question for our special guests. For Bruce and Vince, as champs, what are the most important qualities you're looking for upcoming or hopeful champ editors? And why do you hate bubbles?
Well, I'll go ahead and take that one because that's a pretty direct call out. So I'll start with the better part, which is as champs, what are the most important qualities? Honestly, for me, it is collaboration and willingness to communicate and work with others. Technical skill is something that even myself, when I need to work on something where I need, what's the term, like detour prevention, I almost always have to go look up in the wiki the criteria for detour prevention because I don't remember them offhand. So it's the technical skill is great, but it is really the willingness and even the editors who seek out working with the community and working to learn what they don't know and to bring in other editors or start initiatives across borders, be it countries or states or whatever. It's people who enjoy the community and have fun with that part that seem to be the ones that really stick around and help the app grow, as opposed to, not that there's anything wrong with individuals who like to just edit. That's a very important part by all means, but it's the individuals who want to be part of the community that really catch my eye personally. I don't know if Vince has anything to add to that, but.
Well, I agree generally with what you said. I think community involvement, if you want to be a champ, is important, of course. If you're an area manager or country manager and focus only on editing, that is perfectly fine. But if you want to be a local champ or a global champ, you should get in touch with others, collaborate, because in the end, those are roles where you have to do some community management and have to handle young editors who come in and make mistakes, and sometimes we have to ask staff to take action on some of them if they don't want to listen. So it's there's a human aspect to being a champ, which is not present when you just want to focus on editing and not have to deal with the whole rest of it. So it's definitely something that somebody should be prepared for if they want to be a champ. And if we see that somebody has good leadership quality, or that are just good at talking to people without going towards conflicts, but rather resolution or being working towards agreement, then it's usually good qualities for becoming a global champ or local champ. About the bubbles, I'm not sure if that meant the bullet points. As far as I'm concerned, we did not really have a lot of control over the presentation. That was the content, yes, but then the rest was Brett's fault. So I'm just going to throw it out.
Oh, they're not talking about the bullet points. So
Okay, so
I'll take 2 minutes and take that apart as well, just for everybody's entertainment purposes. So we a couple years ago had a couple that or two individuals at the time who met via Waze map editing, and they actually met each other during a couple of Waze cafes and meetups, and ended up dating and then getting married. Waze was actually kind enough to create a little video for them at the time that was pretty fantastic, and congratulated them. So while at the wedding, because it was actually in my home state here of Michigan, they had these little tubes of bubbles, and I guess that's one of those things that is kind of traditional for some people to have. But a few of the fellow editors that were there took the entire evening to just blow as many bubbles in my face or ears as they could. And so it kind of was a nickname that stuck, I guess.
All right, now I get it.
But that's why I hate bubbles.
Got it. Well, I would just like to say, as someone who's only been with the Waze community now for 6 months, that you guys are some of the most friendly bunch and so welcoming. I know I'm probably preaching to the choir here because anyone watching this show is already familiar with the community, I'm guessing. But I really can't say it enough, and I do evangelize and tell everybody outside of Waze that I know how awesome and welcoming the community is, and how you've all made my life and job here at Waze so much easier because you're so helpful, you're so willing to onboard, you're so willing to teach, that I know that any of these lower ranked editors that just reach out, whether it's asking questions in the forum, whether it's joining their local Discord or Telegram channel or whatnot, just by putting yourself out there, saying hello to the community and asking some questions, you're gonna get a positive response, and people are gonna be very welcoming to you. All right, next question from Alan. It would be great if some features were completed, vice being left partially completed. Okay. Half-baked features. Example, HOV routing, parking lanes, lane guidance, and heuristics. We have had to adjust some residential place points 3 times as standards change. Can we get those completed? I think, Donna, this is another question for you.
I think I'll take this one. Thanks, Alan. So I definitely, I hear your pain here. And this is something that we've heard a lot before. It's really not the first time. And I think the biggest issue here is that it's all really a matter of prioritization, and one feature might be prioritized over another. And we have been releasing quite a lot of new, interesting, awesome features. So that means some may have been neglected. It's not always due to prioritization. It could be different blockers that are causing this. But eventually, out of the huge number of suggestions, features, ideas, even if some of them are not, or like incomplete, but have started, eventually there are going to have to be, some decisions are going to have to be made around what will be prioritized. And look, I continue pushing them. We know that they're very highly prioritized over the suggestions. So it's something that we are definitely familiar with, but sometimes some things get prioritized over others. I hope that makes sense.
Thanks, Donna. Let's put up another question. Let's try to get one for the guys. All right, here we go from Victor. Which are the must-have scripts for novice editors?
For me, that would be what we recommend, at least in my area, would be Wme Magic, because it points out a lot of the most current common mistakes people make and suggests also what to do to fix them. It's not just saying this is wrong or highlighting it. Also has a help bubble saying, okay, this is what's wrong, that's why it's wrong, and this is how to fix it. And of course, that depends also on localization, because since there's a translation tool, it can be in different languages, and also how people will translate how to fix the thing. It can also be set up by country, so a certain country could have a certain way to do something, and Magic could present it differently in another one, but at least it will always follow community guidelines and not be some sort of global rule. More like it can be localized by the people who work with the developers. So I think that's a good one to have, because if a country has set up Wme Magic to be set up correctly for them, then it will definitely help young editors in their area. So that would be one for me.
Bruce, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah, I kind of agree there with Vince. I think Magic is a great one for people who are learning and curious as to why something may be an issue, because I know I have spent a long time before trying to figure out why something is an issue pouring through the wiki, and it's nice that it does have the links to the why right there. I know that another one for me, it's all about functionality over performance. A lot of people I see have dozens upon dozens of scripts, and they're all enabled all the time, and then they make comments about how the map editor crawls at a really slow pace and has all these kinds of errors. And so I tend to try and edit it with as few as I can. But so I think the ones that I normally have on would be Toolbox, just because it has a useful amount of highlights and functions there. And then color highlights is the other one. Like I said, that one I've used since day one, and I've always really enjoyed that one. I think that's really about all I use. I noticed that Lori had said advanced closures, and if you're doing a lot of stuff with closures, it's definitely a very, very useful.
Yeah, of course. My answer was also based on very like the word novice editors, like somebody who just starts editing, because they will have to learn the basics. And Toolbox is obviously very cool when you work on things, but it's usually like used by people who at least have a little bit of editing in their sleeve, so they know what they're doing, and they use Toolbox because it helps them work faster, and it's a great tool. But if we have to talk about only novice editors, those are the ones I would recommend, and that I usually do. And then later, when they continue to edit, of course, I'll tell them Toolbox, advanced closures, when they can add closures, because when they're novice, usually they don't have the level for it. So yeah, and there are so many community scripts. That's also why I did not recommend one when I gave my own tips and use something outside. More not because I don't think they're great, but because I wouldn't know which one to put forward, and because all of them are useful for something. They're all great, and people who take their free time and out of their lives and everything to develop those and maintain those every time there's an WME upgrade or update. I mean, sorry. It's just amazing what people do with those scripts and how it helps us as editors. So, but it's impossible to just make a list of the best ones unless you ask for like, okay, what is it going to be used for, and who's it going to help, and at which state, and how much do they know about editing. It's just there are so many out there, it's crazy. But obviously scripts are always great.
I think that varies too, community by community. So I'd really recommend novice editors to reach out to their community leadership and find out what the list of scripts that they're using locally are to get onboarded into what the rest of the community is doing. Let's throw up another question. From John, I noticed that Bruce did not promote any of his scripts. Lane tools is a must to see where lanes were added and adding lanes. So Bruce, both a kudos and a question.
Well, I already saw my name plastered all over this. Office hour was way too much. Didn't really feel the need to, it was tips and tricks. And if it was tips on lanes, then sure. But, as Vince said, we're looking more for a general thing than a lane tools is pretty specific built. So.
All right. So modesty wins the day, I guess. You don't want to share a little bit with everybody about what this script is about?
It's about lanes.
Okay.
It's
Fair
about
enough.
taking, it's multi-function, I guess. The biggest reason I built it was to try and, I think Waze kind of improved this as time went on, but when you first started dealing with lanes, you had to click on a segment, click on the lanes tab, click on another button, click on another button, put in the number of lanes. There was just a lot of clicks. So there was a lot of automation built into it so that when you click on a segment, it automatically opens the lanes tab and the edit panel. And then it progressed into, there was some highlights in there so you could see, because no offense to staff, but the devs love to put in features, WME, with no native ability to tell when something is, like when there's an attribute on a segment. So if it has lanes on it, or, if it has a node has a turn instruction override, or they might have improved that one. I think you got to hover over the node, but it's there now. But either way, so that's kind of what Lane Tools was there to do, was just really increase the efficiency of editing with lanes.
Fair enough. Let's go to our next question. Vince, can you give a quick overview of reporting beta bugs in the forum?
This is not really a beta office hour or a webinar. I mean,
it's okay. We can be flexible. I think they want to hear from you. That's the goal.
All right. I was gonna think, well, without sharing my screen, well, I'll just go over the basics. When you report a bug in the WME beta bugs forum, what we're looking for is basically for a way to reproduce it in our area. And so when I say we, I mean me, and of course I have to have a memory blank right now. Oh, sorry. Somebody help.
Russ?
Ross, yes. Sorry, thank you. He will hate me for this. I hope he's not watching. Sorry if you are. So Russ, who works with me from the community from Pennsylvania, USA, in managing the WME beta community, we try to reproduce the bugs in our area. So when we have somebody report something, what we do is we go to our editor and we try to do it, and then we come up with steps so that developers, when they get our message, will just follow our steps or the ones from the person who reported the bug, and be able to pinpoint at which moment there's an issue and what it comes from. So we're basically looking for people who will just post. The video is always great. I know John posts videos a lot as GIFs or a picture, or just basically very detailed steps. For example, one time there was a guy who reported the problem, and in the step he just said, "Oh, now you close this," and the difference that made the bug happen was that for closing, I was using the X at the top right, and he was using the escape key. And when I was using the click with the mouse, it was not causing the bug, but if you use the escape key from the keyboard, it did. So that's why steps, sometimes the most detailed they are, the best it can help us find bugs and what causes them, and then for the devs to quickly fix them also. So basically, when people just post, "Oh, there's an error here," and they post a permalink and they don't give any other extra info, it's always a pain for us. We have to try to figure out what happens and if it's only in their location or if it can also be reproduced in ours. So yeah, the more details you have, the more we can then help the developers fix the bug quickly.
Thank you for indulging us, Vince. I know it was off topic. Let's put our next question up. We're running short on time. For Bruce and Vince, where can we get fancy t-shirts like the ones you guys are using or wearing? From Anonymous.
Well, this is one of 2 Waze shirts that I have. So out of 8 years now, I think that's what I've got. And I got both of mine at meetups. So that's, I guess, the best way to ever get really any kind of Waze swag whatsoever, is to attend local meetups when you can.
Yeah. Before I talk about mine, Waze scripts should also be off when you test bugs. I see John in the chat. He just said, I forgot to say that. Of course, always turn your scripts off. So yeah, about my t-shirt. Yeah, it's basically the Waze Global Meetup replacement. Since we didn't have one in 2021, we got a t-shirt, so here it is. It's actually the first time I wear it too, so yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for your very fashionable choices for this office hours. Let's go to our last question. Thank you, Bruce and Vincent, for sharing your best tips from Shira, your biggest fan.
Thank you, Shira. She got us into this.
She did, and I appreciate it. I'd really like to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Thank you to Donna. Thank you to Noam for sharing with us your updates. Vince and Bruce, it was such a pleasure to have you guys with us today. And with that, I'm really happy to sign out. Make sure you click the link below to take the survey. Let us know what you want to see next and let us know how we did today. Like and subscribe to get notified whenever we have a new episode coming up. And we will see you guys next month for our next exciting edition of Waze Communities Office Hours. Thank you all for joining us. This is Brett, your favorite shiny-headed community specialist, signing off. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See y'all.